Cruising is a truly magical experience. You can go to different places all over the world with your room, and things traveling with you definitely makes for a lot of fun. But there are 7 secrets that I want to share with you that are going to make that cruise even more enjoyable. Things that you may not have thought of, and maybe if you're an experienced cruiser, perhaps you have heard of maybe 1, 2, maybe you know maybe 5 of them, but there are 6 that I want to share with you that you may not know that may help you on a future cruise you want to go on. Let's dive into it. First up, it's from Royal Caribbean. Now, Royal Caribbean has a lot of ships and a lot of different experiences that you can have, whether it be, the Harmony, the Symphony, or going to maybe the Allure, other ships that they have, the Independence of the Seas, the Freedom, so many different classes of ships and many shapes and sizes that they have that are meant for different journeys, right? So if you want to go to Alaska, you're not going to be on the Symphony. If you want to go to the Caribbean, you're probably not going to be on the Odyssey, right? So those kind of things do vary with Royal Caribbean. But something that they do more often than not is the ultimate dining package. I have to give credit where credit's due. My friend Corey from Corey Meets World gave me this recommendation when I was cruising with Royal Caribbean, and he was absolutely right. It's the Royal Caribbean's ultimate dining package, and it includes some of your favorite specialty dining restaurants for one price. For example, if you're on a Royal Caribbean cruise, let's pretend you're on the Independence of the Seas, leaving out of Port Canaveral, and you want to go to Chops Grill. It could cost you somewhere around $50 per guest. Now that includes a 15% savings pre-cruise. So instead of maybe $58, perhaps it's $50, right? But with the ultimate dining package, let's pretend we're taking in the pre-cruise pricing here, right? So just keep all these numbers kind of relatively, flexible in your mind, but about $105 for the ultimate dining package for a 3-night experience versus about 40-some for just Chops Grill by itself. In reality, if you were to eat at different, specialty restaurants throughout the cruise for lunch and dinner basically every night, you will more than make your money back with this deal. And it also applies for 7-night experiences, right? So those numbers that I was talking about was for a 3-night experience, but if you're going for a 7-night cruise and you can get the ultimate dining package and you love the specialty dining, especially on Royal Caribbean, celebrity ships like that, it's going to save you a lot of money. It's something that those of us who travel with Disney a lot don't really think about that much, just because with Disney Cruise Line, you have a tendency to just go to the restaurants and, Apollo and Remy are nice, but you probably are going to want to go to the specialty ones at least a few times on your cruise. So the ultimate dining package, at least in my opinion, is worth it if you want to try specialty dining. If you're unsure, maybe wait till you're on board and try 1 or 2 of them, right? So try Chops Grill one time during your experience rather than the ultimate dining package. But if you're an experienced cruiser and really want to make the most of the ultimate dining and really are a foodie, go for it. It's absolutely worth it. The second secret also applies to Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. Some other cruise lines do it too, but for me, I'm going to talk about Royal Caribbean and Celebrity here because I have experience with them. And that's the Royal Up program. Now, this is one that is really, really cool. If let's pretend for a moment, you chose an inside stateroom, right? You chose one to kind of save you some money. I've done it recently. You say, okay, I want to do this. I want to save some money and I want to go and experience the cruise. It's going to be great. Kind of wish I could have the balcony or the window, but I'll be happy with the interior. As you're getting ready for the cruise, days are getting closer, maybe 60 days, 40 days in advance of your cruise, you may, depending on the cruise now, you may get an email from Royal Caribbean or Celebrity, one of the other lines, that say, you can qualify for the Royal Up program or whatever other program they're calling it for your ship. And basically, it's your way of bidding for a higher, tier room on board your ship. Now, when I first experienced this on a Royal Caribbean cruise, I was kind of shocked by it because I'm coming from the Disney Cruise Line, right? So I'm not used to this, where they say, oh, you're in an inside stateroom or you're in Ocean View. Do you want to upgrade for less than the cost of the full price for Ocean View or balcony? I thought it was a great deal. It really is cool. Not always going to be great. It always depends on the number of people on board with you. If it's a totally sold out ship, then it's probably not going to be offered anyway. But for some instances, the ship's not sold out and you have the opportunity to upgrade your stateroom to something that you probably want even more, right? It's not, maybe you prefer inside, and some people definitely do, especially if you're feeling like the back and forths of the ship, you probably want inside. But if you do want that upgrade and you want to kind of, see what comes out later and, take the less expensive one, like I'm happy with interior, but if the Royal Up program's available, I'll go with that. It's something to consider. If you're thinking about Royal or Celebrity, they usually offer it depending on the crowd of the ship that's going to be on. So it's going to be a crowded ship, may not be offered, less crowded, probably will be. Now, the next secret that I want to share with you is actually one of my favorites, and I've used this one more often than not. I have used it so frequently, I think it's actually more than the standard rate that I use for cruising. It's called the GTY rate, and there are a lot of other acronyms that they have for the different rates. But basically, depending on the ship and the whichever line you're sailing with. But basically, it's the rate that allows the cruise ship to place you in a room later on. So you make the booking for the cruise and you say, you know what, Disney, Royal, Princess, Celebrity, you guys choose where I'm going to be. I'm going to tell you which class of room, so interior, ocean view, veranda, and then you can tell me where I'm going to be on board. There is risk to this. I want to be absolutely clear. You may be placed, and this has happened to me, in a stateroom where you're at the very back of the ship on deck 3 and it's really bumpy. It's happened to me. It's definitely not something that you want to take lightly. You want to think about the class of room that you are getting, right? So if you're in a veranda stateroom, and there are several different veranda styles, right? So there's veranda, I'm just going to use random numbers here, like 1A and 1B and 1C, right? You want to make sure you look very carefully at where each of these veranda rooms could be. Maybe 1A is on decks 2 through 10, but 1B is available on decks 6 through 12, right? If you go and just take that one extra step to stateroom 1B and say, let's say, pretend for a moment, a GTY stateroom in 1B category, if that's available, and this is all going to vary based on the cruise line that you're on, that is going to make sure that you're on that deck 6 or whatever the lowest tier is and above. Now, more often than not, you may get an upgrade. Not always, but it's happened to me more than once where you got an upgrade to the stateroom style that you selected to an even better stateroom just because it was available. It's a fantastic way to save money if you're thinking about a cruise experience. It can save you a ton. I'm talking $400, $500, $600, for the total price of the room, which is a lot when you start to add it up. Now, if you're new to cruising and this idea scares you a little bit, you are not alone. This is something that more experienced cruisers usually do. It's something you totally can do as well. And if you're going on Royal or Celebrity, remember, you can also do the Royal Up program. So you can kind of combine these. You can start with that GTY rate just as an example, and then you can take the Royal Up program. Let's pretend you don't like your room that they assign you. You can say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and bid with the Royal Up program, depending on when they assign the room to you, of course, but it's something to think about. The fourth secret that I love to use, and I think a lot of people do know this one, but some don't, it's to make sure that you put a bathing suit or something that you want to wear on the first night in your carry-on. Reason for that is you can start using the pool amenities immediately. You want to go and experience the pool first thing with very few crowds, put that bathing suit in your carry-on bag, your luggage is being delivered, and you're chilling at the pool with a margarita in hand. It is a great secret, used it many times, and definitely recommend it. The fifth secret on our list is one that I just recently became aware of. Really cool secret here, just learned about it. It's the MSC status match. Now, MSC, the Mediterranean Shipping Company, is getting more into cruising in the Caribbean, all that. And they've started this program, and they've had it for actually a little while now. I looked into it. The MSC status match, where if you're a long-time cruiser, you can use the status that you've earned on a different cruise line and place it toward an MSC status. I'm going to give you an example. If you're a platinum level member on board Disney Cruise Line, which means you've taken more than 10 Disney cruises, you will immediately, if you use the status match website, which MSC has available, just Google it, MSC status match. If you upload the information that they need, a couple days later, they'll get back to you, and you will immediately become the highest tier Voyager Club member on the MSC cruise line. Imagine that. Imagine going from no cruises at all to just going for the first time and getting that. I think it's the black status. They have different levels as well, but it's the MSC black card. That is the one that gets transferred directly from platinum. So you're platinum on Disney Cruise Line, you become the highest level in MSC. It is such a cool perk and definitely worth doing, especially if you have a lot of experience with other cruise line. Now, this is going to vary from line to line. That's important to keep in mind. So even though Disney Cruise Line with the Platinum is going to get you MSC Black Card, the different lines are going to, have a different equation associated with it. So if you're Royal Caribbean Emerald, you may be like a Gold Card with MSC. So it's just something to think about if you've cruised many times. One important note about this, I'm going to give the Disney Cruise Line example. If you're very close to Platinum with Disney Cruise Line, let's pretend you have 8 or 9 cruises, and you're thinking about an MSC cruise, finish off getting Platinum before you apply for the status match. Because my understanding is you can only apply for that status match once, or there was a kind of weird language about it, but from what I was looking at, it seemed like you could only get it once to get that status match made, maybe every 36 months if you sail with MSC. It's kind of weird how they shape it like that, but if you can just make sure that you are at the highest tier that you think you're going to be for a while and then do the status match, that is super important. Number 6 on our list of secrets that I wanted to share with you was alcohol purchases, right? So if you purchase alcohol off of the ship, let's pretend you're in Tortola and you want to try some local distillery, right? And at the end of this distillery tour or whatever you're doing, you get a small bottle of alcohol to bring on board with you. I'm talking small, right? Not, several large cases, right? That's different, okay? I'm talking about a small bottle of alcohol that you're bringing on board with you. If you do that on Celebrity Cruise Line, just as an example, you step on board and they see that you have a bottle of alcohol with you, they're going to ask what it is, and they're going to say, oh, that's it, just a small bottle. I want to be very clear, small, and they'll let you bring it on board with you and even enjoy it on board the cruise. Very unique experience that I had. This happened to me. This is why I'm telling you this. Really, really cool. Tried something similar with Disney Cruise Line. They confiscated the alcohol and gave it to me at the end of the cruise. So it really depends on the cruise that you are on. So for my example, Celebrity allowed a small bottle on, Disney did not. The different cruise lines are going to treat this differently. You want to look at that in advance of your cruise. If you're thinking about purchasing alcohol when you're out and about, you do want to be aware of that. That being said, even though it gets confiscated, they'll just hang on to it until the end of the cruise for you. So Disney did that. Other cruise lines, if you have enough alcohol with you, they will just hang on to it till the end of the cruise, and you can take it home with you whenever you make it back. Last but certainly not least, our list of hidden secrets when you're thinking about cruising, guest services can be incredibly helpful, especially on the first day. Let me explain. If you were trying super hard to get earlier dining, Disney Cruise Line is a good example of this, right? You wanted to get the earlier dining, but only late dining was available. Guest services is there to try and accommodate you as best as possible. And the best tip that I can give to you about this, this whole experience when you're thinking about early, late dining, this is just one example, is to, as soon as you board, head on over to guest services and see if they have anything available. Make that the first thing that you do if that's your highest priority. They are more than happy to at least look to see if there's something available for you to make your experience that much better. It's something to think about when you're stepping on board. Guest services there to help first thing if you want to, some request that didn't quite go through when you were booking the cruise at first. And those are my 7 hidden secrets of cruising. It's so much fun to go on a cruise, experience those excursions, try the food, just an incredible adventure. Thanks so much for journeying with me today, and until next time, have a magical day. See you real soon.